All right, everybody. We would like to welcome you back to Behind the Wings. I'm Lizzie Maurer, the SAAC president.
I'm Chris Hoover, the SAAC vice president.
Oh, that was awesome, Chris. We would just like to recognize that this episode may look a little bit different today, as it is just me and Chris sitting here. We don't have any special guest, but with the semester wrapping up and fall sports coming to an end, winter sports starting, spring sports getting into their seasons, we wanted to just discuss the Student Athlete Advisory Committee and what we have been able to do in this first semester. But before we get into that, we would like to say a big congratulations to Josie Skin from the volleyball team for getting Libero of the Year, and to Nino Marzullo, freshman on the football team, for getting Freshman of the Year. So huge congratulations to both of them. First and second team and honorable mention conference awards have also been posted for all fall sports. If you would like to check those out, go to Fairmont State's athletics website, and you can get a full description of everybody who got on those teams. That's the words I'm looking for. But congratulations to everybody.
Fantastic. Fairmont State's doing big things.
Big things, and really, really cool. Freshman of the Year and Libero of the Year. That's awesome. Those are huge, and lots of first and second team awards, all region awards. So putting Fairmont State on the map, I love it. So Congratulations to those fall sports for wrapping up their season. Let's talk about SAAC. Let's do it. So we didn't have a necessary script for this episode because me and Chris could talk about SAAC for hours. We will always. So we are really excited for this episode just because we say I'm the SAAC president or I'm the SAAC vice president, but what does that really mean, and what does SAAC mean to Fairmont State University? And I feel like we've kind of described this as like a rebuilding or a growth year for our advisory committee, in figuring out what Fairmont State SAAC means to our athletic department, and what it even means all the way up to Dr. Davis, who you would think doesn't have a large impact on what we do, but has had some of the greatest impacts on everything.
Just enabling us and his support. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do the things we do and have the success that we have without him.
Yeah, and I feel like before we even say anything that we've done, we need to thank Dr. Davis. We had a great meeting with him, and he's done amazing things for SAAC within the few months we've been around. I mean, a semester is a long time, but in all reality, it's not super long. Greg Bamberger, who was our first guest on the podcast, he has guided us through so many things and supported us through our ideas. All the coaches, it's kind of hard to buy into something that's so new, but you guys have all done a great job at doing that. And then, of course, our student athletes who are either involved or not involved with SAAC, supporting our vision and what we're doing is really awesome, and it helps create that community feel that we talk about on every single episode.
Absolutely.
And it makes us feel like what we're doing is being seen, and our goal is to help Fairmont State as a whole, and to see that that's happening is really fun. So big thank yous for that.
Very, very much.
Can't get into anything without saying thank you. So how do go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was going to say a huge thank you to all of our other schools in the MEC as well for the work that they do. We bounce off of them for ideas. They bounce off us for ideas. And I mean, we all want to see SAAC grow, but just as we, compete in sports, we want to challenge each other here to make the best out of this and to make the MEC SAAC amazing as well.
Yeah, and I think that kind of segues us into a really cool opportunity me and Chris had. When was this? Early October?
Yes.
I think it was like the first week in October.
Last week in September.
Same thing, first week, last week. But we had the opportunity to go to the MEC SAAC meeting in person, hosted by West Virginia Wesleyan. And we got to connect with a lot of other SAAC reps in the conference and kind of see where they struggle, where they thrive, and how we can kind of work together with that. So that was a really awesome opportunity to be able to connect further than our school. And SAAC is all about making connections and growing kind of your circle and learning from everybody else. So that was super fun. I honestly got the idea to start this podcast from West Liberty's podcast. They talked about it. I talked with Kelsey Kyle, the SAAC advisor at West Liberty, about the podcast that they do at the MEC SAAC meeting. And now we're here doing our own podcast. So this wouldn't have come to be without that. So I think it's important to recognize those collaborations.
Absolutely. And there were some other schools too where I won't name names, but the students came up. Well, the students came up to us, or like the faculty reps came up to us, and we're just asking like, hey, we're here. You're super successful with like Make-A-Wish. Yeah. Like, how do you do it? We want to do that. And you know, it's just amazing to get to see that the work we're doing and the vision that we have is able to spread throughout the MEC. Because at the end of the day, the good work we do benefits the community.
Yeah.
And if other schools are able to do that and us enable them to be able to do that, I mean, it's just a win-win-win and amazing for Division II.
Yeah, and I was just about to say Division II is completely make it yours, and collaboration is a way to make it your own. So you're feeding off of each other and making everything Fairmont State does Fairmont State's, but also recognizing that we couldn't do that without the support of all Division II athletics programs. So I think that's that was a great segue. I mean, I love talking about that MEC SAAC meeting. It was so fun and so cool.
Insightful.
Very
insightful.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the first in-person ones they'd done in a while. So it was a big honor to be able to go and do that, but definitely really, really cool. So with that, I say we go into discussing our 4 subcommittees of SAAC and explaining those a little bit more. Because when we talk about those, we'll be able to talk about the wide variety of things we've been able to accomplish in this semester in a little more organized way. Because me and Chris will typically just talk, and it won't make any sense to anybody but us. So we're going to try to organize it in a way.
We've got a 9-page Google Docs.
Yeah, it's a little bit crazy up in here, but we're going to try to condense it down into something that's a little more understandable for not our brains. But we are going to start with the social media committee. So, well, let me take a step back. The executive board is obviously me and Chris. Riley is our producer for this, and she's our social media person. Olivia Daniels is the SAAC secretary, and then Lexi Antle is our treasurer. So that is our executive board. And in the past, the executive board has been like very heavily involved with getting everything that SAAC wants to do done. And we love that, and we've taken that with great honor and pride, and we've done those things. But we also understand that we were previously members of SAAC, and it felt like it was just a monthly meeting you were going to and sitting and listening to what was being said, and okay, I'll help out every once in a while. So our goal was to really get everybody involved and make everybody feel important and like they have a role in what's going on campus, and also ease the burden of everything we're doing just so we don't burn ourselves out, and make sure this is something sustainable for years to come. So with that, at our last SAAC meeting, which was like a week and a half ago or something, we initiated 4 subcommittees that every member of SAAC will be a part of and able to contribute in their certain respective areas. And there's also heads of the committees, so there's more opportunities for leadership roles. So we're hoping we can do even more than what we've already done in the coming semester because of these subcommittees. So we're really, really excited about that. And now that you understand what the subcommittees are, and it's not just some word that I'm throwing around.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Yeah. No, thank you, Chris. But this was also a big idea from Greg. So again, have to thank him. That was something really big that he pushed, and I wasn't quite sure how to go about it, but by him putting that idea and seed into my brain, it really grew, and we made it what it is. And now we can officially talk about what the subcommittees are and what they're doing. So like I was going to start with before, we have the media subcommittee or the social media subcommittee. So that is headed by Riley. She was part of our executive board already because we know the importance of social media on any organization, on any campus. So we kind of felt that was super important. But in the media, Chris, you can go. I'm talking a lot.
Oh, you're doing great.
Thank you, Chris. But in the media committee, obviously, the podcast, what you're watching right now, that is one of the biggest things that we're the most proud of. We were able to get this idea that we all had, and we weren't sure what it would look like or how could this be different from the coaches show that they do for football and all of those things. And we were able to get to this point where we're posting bi-weekly episodes with special guests, and we have these scripts most of the time. We have a nice script that we write out, but because it's SAAC, we know how to talk about this. Cuff. Yes. But it's been really cool to see that idea start from nothing and get up to everything. And there's a lot of people who are in that media subcommittee that are interested in learning how we produce this and edit this and write the scripts. So,
and also opening us up to other avenues as well.
Yes.
We've definitely done much better with our Instagram and social media presence in general. And we're looking to open up into our TikTok and more short form content where we'll do things like sports swaps. That's my big one. What else are we going to do on there?
we haven't obviously solidified this super big as an executive board because we do want the people a part of the media subcommittee to do a lot of that and make it their own. Yes. I would love to see like day in the lives. I love watching or like a get ready with me for my basketball game.
Post game interviews.
Yeah, just things like that. And I think that really emphasizes the pillar of student athlete voice that SAAC brings on. Yes, it's fun to make social media content and do all of that. But by doing some of those day in the life or get ready with me or post game interviews, you're also letting student athletes use their voice to emphasize what they're going through and doing. So what was that face for, Miss Producer?
She bumped the table.
Oh. Riley. Sorry. But speaking of social media, but
I think also, we talked about this a little bit. I don't know if on this podcast specifically, but getting to see a side of the student athletes that's not just their sport or just their statistics. Everyone has not only their voice as a student athlete, but who they are as a person. And we're hoping to shine light on that through this.
And I think we've definitely started to open that avenue up, and I'm super excited to see how far this can go, especially with the addition of TikTok. Something that Dr. Davis also said is, is if you're not telling people or showing people what you're doing, did it actually happen, especially in the age of social media. So being sure that we'll talk about this more, but community outreach is a huge thing we're doing, making sure we're posting about that and letting people know that we are getting out in the community. And that is something that is super important to us, because when it comes back to it, the community, if they're not sure if we're supporting them, then if they have that visual or extra tangible thing to be like, oh my gosh, they're doing these things, how cool, I want to go and support them. So, also just using it as an avenue for that has been something that's huge.
And I think to what I was saying earlier about we piggyback off of schools in the MEC and other schools. I can't tell you how many times I've seen another school probably halfway across the country post something and I screenshot it, send it to Lizzie, Riley, someone, and I'm like, hey, I want to do this, or I want to keep this on our radar to make this happen. You know? We don't want to gatekeep what we do. We want to make sure we open up these opportunities to everybody.
Yeah, and it's cool. We put a lot of effort into what we do, so why not flaunt it a little bit? So that's my thing. I think that's really it with media for now. I know there'll be for now. I know I say for now for all of these, just because I know next semester is going to be huge, and with the upcoming break, people will kind of have time to figure out their place within their subcommittee and do all of that. So really excited for social media and to see where that's going and how big we can make that and continue this podcast, of course. This is so fun. I love doing these. Next, which subcommittee do you want to go to, Chris?
Fundraising, Make-A-Wish.
Oh, our little interim head of the committee.
My child.
Yeah.
So yeah, I again, we may have said this on the podcast before. I'm gonna double dip if we have.
That's okay.
Division II SAAC partners with Make-A-Wish to raise money. Just as a whole for Make-A-Wish. In past years, we've done good. I think what's the minimum been for Division II that each school? I think it's
$1,000 that each school has to raise $1,000, and I mean has to is in loose terms, but that's the goal.
That's what they ask from each school. And I recall my first year in SAAC 2 years ago was $1,000 was our goal. And then last year was $1,500, I believe.
Yes. I think.
And I just remember feeling that was a low bar to reach with how many student athletes we have and the mobilization opportunities that we have.
Well, and I do think in the past too, it was hard to reach that.
Yes.
I don't think we had established a way to fundraise for Make-A-Wish, and without what SAAC did in the past, we wouldn't know what does or doesn't work. So we're lucky for that. Even
before I was on SAAC, I remember my freshman year here, the SAAC reps just asked for $2 from every person on the team. And that was the extent of it. And I mean, that's still a great thing to do.
It's awesome.
But I just remember thinking, like, how can we make this? And last year, the swim team did our swimathon, our inaugural swimathon. And we raised $2,000 for Make-A-Wish for that. And so that was kind of, in my mind, the proof of concept of, okay, we can do this. Let's make this big. And this year, I boldly introduced the idea of raising...
Last year, Fairmont State, I think, was fifth.
I think sixth.
Fifth or
top
sixth.
10. Top 10.
We were in top 10 for Division II fundraising with, was it like 5,000, 3,000, 5,000?
Between 3.5 and 5.
It was. I can't remember the exact numbers right off the top of my head, but we were like, dang, top 10 under like that's not even enough to sponsor a wish. And when we realized there was some word that like somebody, if we were halfway, it takes $10,000 to sponsor a wish. That's our goal of this year. Chris was getting to that. I just spoiled it for him, his favorite thing. But after seeing everything that was going on, we were like, well, we want to sponsor a wish. And last year we were really close to $5,000, which is half of a wish. And we heard that somebody would, if we had made it to $5,000 last year, they would have matched the $5,000 and we would have been able to sponsor a wish, but we fell short. And we don't want to fall short again at all. I mean,
no, absolutely. I mean, just to know that opportunity was on the table, which we didn't know at the time.
We didn't know,
but now we do. And so we're not going to let that opportunity go to waste.
Yeah.
So our big goal this year for Make-A-Wish is to raise $10,000 as Fairmont State and sponsor a wish.
Yes.
And then if donation matches come in after that, that's awesome. But we like boots on the ground, grassroots fundraising, want to raise $10,000.
Yes.
And to enable that, each team this year is going to do one Make-A-Wish specific fundraiser. Yep. We've been working pretty closely with each team's SAAC reps to help make that happen. And I believe our first one, I don't think a team has done one yet.
I know we've had a lot of tabling events, which is the big, you sit at a game by the entrance and you say, hey, we're raising money for Make-A-Wish. And that's been the biggest like way we've made money, but these fundraisers are really coming to fruition.
Yes. And so next semester, that'll be another big part of it. But swimming is actually during our second annual swim-a-thon this year.
Yes.
We've done a lot of work to put into that, and we're excited to see where it goes. Riley just gave a face. Are we okay?
I also just accidentally.
Huh?
Oh, the softball camp. Thank you, Riley. I also just burped in the mic as she was doing that. I'm really sorry. It's really not my best moment. Softball has hosted some camps too, and a portion of those proceeds have also gone to Make-A-Wish. So I knew they did that, and I asked them about it quite frequently.
Yes, other teams have done a lot. It's not just a swim team.
No.
I just directly, I can go that one off the cuff.
Yeah, but $10,000. And
yes.
Another really cool thing is we've gotten word of a pretty major donation, a matching donation that could give us the opportunity to potentially grant 2 wishes.
Yes.
So if you do the math, that is $20,000. That is a lot of money to helping kids that are going through difficult times in their life. And also really cool, again, putting Fairmont State on the map.
Yep.
Last year, the #1 Division II school for fundraising money for Make-A-Wish was $17,000. You do the math, 20 is more than 17.
We have the opportunity.
Yeah, so I think SAAC has done, especially in this first semester, done a really great time at mobilizing and getting this idea and goal and seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Obviously, we still have a long way to go, so if you ever want to make a donation to Make-A-Wish, just, let us know. Find us. We're around. But it's just really cool to see that our goal is being seen and heard, and we're making strides in the positive direction to get there. And
again, I'll probably bring this up with every single thing we do. Being able to challenge and get our other schools involved with this in the MEC. I mean, it's nice if we're able to make this $20,000 goal happen, and then if that gets us as the top school in Division II, but also, I mean, the growth. I mean, that's 4 times the amount that we did last year. What can other schools do?
Yeah.
How can we all come together and make this change?
Well, and use our competitive spirits to be like, oh, Fairmont State did that? Oh, I want to be better than Fairmont State. And then, in all honesty, that's just for the betterment of Make-A-Wish as a foundation and as a group. So, fundraising.
Yes.
I love talking about Make-A-Wish. I could have a whole episode just about Make-A-Wish, but really, really fun. So I guess we could move to internal affairs, which is a newer idea, and this is something new for SAAC as a whole, but we've kind of had this idea when the executive board has met up. We do our back to school bash at the beginning of the year, and that's for all student athletes just to get together, play some yard games, do some things. We've tried to change it, but honestly, the yard games and food are it's the best. I mean, who doesn't love playing some cornhole and throwing around a football and just hanging out, especially before things get stressful and the school year starts. But that was the only thing we ever really did as athletes coming together. So internal affairs, there's kind of 2 sections of it. bringing student athletes together through monthly activities. So Thanksgiving, November, we did writing thank you cards to somebody on campus coming from a student athlete. And we also had a little sticky note wall thing that was writing down things you're thankful for, and it was posted in our major athletic facility, Feaster Center, and that was our internal affairs activity for the month of November. It was something small. It was pretty easy to put on as we did it just as the executive board, but with this subcommittee getting going, we're super excited to see what activities they come up with in the future. We'll hear about that hopefully a little bit more tomorrow at our SAAC meeting. But I know we've talked about doing stockings as a possible fundraising thing for SAAC specific money, but getting teams and student athletes together to do something fun together each month as an internal group. So that's one part of it. We're not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet, but like I said, that monthly activity we did in November, the back to school bash, those are all things that are involved with internal affairs. And we've done, like the back to school bash, we've been doing that. And we've kind of been doing these things and getting student athletes together, but how can we really capitalize on that and make sure it's something we're focusing on? So we haven't done necessarily a ton with that, but we're super excited with this idea and to see it keep building and growing. And we think it's really important to do.
Absolutely.
But I mean, we also... at one point we're like, oh, it's not that important because like we all get along and the teams all talk to each other and we all love each other and it's all kumbaya, but it's like it doesn't hurt to just do something.
Make it better.
Yeah, and
make it better.
That's kind of how we ended up here. But also, you can talk about the other side of internal affairs.
So the other side of it is we recognize that it's pretty easy for there to be a gap between us up on the hill as student athletes and then how are we on? Okay,
no, you're good. Yeah. I was just checking.
Us up on the hill as student athletes, and to be disjointed from the rest of the student body. And so our other part of it is to bridge that gap through coordination with other student organizations like SGA or other smaller organizations. Can we collaborate on events just to, again, not have it be the student athletes, this group of people, but for it to just be one community on campus?
Yes. And again, Dr. Davis, candid mention, we keep doing this. I've already mentioned him, but he's also really big on that. He's going to support the student athletes, but he's also going to go to everything else and support all students on campus, which I think is super important. And it's a really good message to student athletes that, yeah, it's important to go to your fellow teams, like athletic events. Like if you're a swimmer and you go to an acro meet, which we do frequently, or acro to swim, we love. We're a buddy team, I swear. But yes, that's cool, and yes, that's important, but we need to get student athletes to other events. Can we get them to the play that's going on in Wallman Hall? And can we have them go watch the band at an exhibition? Or can we do these things or go to these events that the school is putting on? Because we should. Yeah. They're fun. The school is doing this for us. And I mean, I've even not been the best at it. Like, oh, I'm tired. I just had a practice. Well, it's freaking fun. Like, it's fun. There's free food. There's people. There's excitement. There's music. Like, there's just things to do. And I think with this addition of the internal affairs subcommittee, we will be able to get student athletes to more of those events, and it will be really cool. And I know that kind of side of it is really just going to be relaying information back and forth, letting the general student body know when our important events are, and let the student body letting our rep, oh my gosh, jeez, letting
the student body know whenever our events are, and ensuring that our reps tell our teammates when general student body events are.
Yes.
And actually doing the legwork to get people out there.
Yeah. So we're really excited for that. I have to plug the Hidden Opponent here. That's a mental health group on campus for student athletes, but it's also allowed to just do mental health for like everybody on campus. And so how can we get this to be a larger group that everybody's kind of involved with? So that's really big for me. And our final subcommittee.
Community outreach, my other favorite.
Your other favorite. So this is, again, a newer idea. It's a big pillar of SAAC, getting out in the community, and I've talked about it a bit. But our big thing for this has been ensuring each team does one community outreach thing, event, something per semester. Football, you talk about the football and basketball, what they've...
They partner with the Disability Action Center and bring in members of that group and just have a day with them.
Teach them their sport.
Yeah,
drills. I remember. It's fun.
I remember sitting in with Greg one day and watching the basketball team do the work. And I mean, just seeing this group, their faces light up, getting to interact with the players, and just even the fun that I saw them and the coach having too. Yeah. I mean, it's a great day.
It's awesome. And I know softball, again, I think they built like, but up in Morgantown, they built bikes for kids with disabilities, and I don't know exactly what that looked like, and I'm no bike expert. I don't even know if I could ride a bike, but like that's so cool and so unique and something that we can really get out and help with. Mm-hmm. Something that we just did at our last SAAC meeting, again, for kind of this November internal affairs, like giving to other people. We had each SAAC rep bring in at least 1 or 2 cans of food for Freddy's Pantry here on campus. And we went down and filled Freddy's Pantry. And it was looking really bare when we got there. So that kind of feeling of like, okay, wow, this can of food that I brought is helping. It's helping.
And, I mean, even like a week later, I mean, it's empty again.
Yeah, so
it went to good use.
Yeah, and it really did. And especially the holidays are hard and it's getting cold. And I mean, it's just something so important. And I think having our eyes focused on what we can do for the community has been something really, really cool. And I mean, seeing football and basketball and softball do those things has been awesome. This week as well, we've gotten together a few student athletes to go and read in some local elementary school classrooms, which it's not as, it's so cool. It's not as, like, crazy or difficult as, like, filling Freddy's Pantry, and it's not as, like, I don't know, like, hard or heavy hitting. Yeah. It's like, but you're just going to go make a kid smile, and we are heroes to those kids. I remember looking to athletes when I was in elementary school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the coolest person I've ever seen. So I'm really excited to see the pictures from that and see all the kids and everything. So that's something small. It wasn't super hard. Shout out to Lindsay Ullring from the volleyball team. She kind of got that together for us and scheduled everything. So she did an amazing job with that and getting us to like actually be able to go and do that.
Get out in the community.
Yes, and that's been our focus, and we've talked about a lot of these things, and it's taken a lot of planning, so it's kind of coming to fruition towards the end of this semester, but I know it's just going to keep blossoming and growing into next semester, and we have a lot of ideas to give to that community outreach subcommittee. We've thought about this one a lot. This is one we did a lot as the executive board, so we're really excited to see how they can take our ideas and grow them and come up with their own ideas and continue this idea of how, like, the importance of getting out into the community.
Yes.
So, yeah, those are our 4 subcommittees and a little bit about what we have done this semester. A lot of it's been planning and organizing, getting things together. Towards the end, we've been executing a little bit more now that we have everything in order.
Got our ducks in a row.
Our ducks are in a row. Finally, we're getting there.
Just in time for Christmas.
Just in time. But next semester, I'm truly excited to be able to do this episode at the end of next semester and see like the big picture. But that's kind of all. It's been awesome. I'm really happy we got to do this episode, and I hope everybody watching can kind of see what we're doing and, you know, enjoy and hopefully help if there ever needs to be help.
And see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I hope.
And this has been really fun. So what?
Toys for Tots.
Okay, really quickly. There will be Toys for Tots bins in the Falcon Center on the first floor.
First floor entrance of the rec center.
And there will also be a box in Feaster Center. So if you are feeling generous and would like to donate any toys for the Toys for Tots organization, those boxes will be there till the 13th. 11th. So the Toys for Tots boxes will be in Feaster Center on the first floor. In the Falcon Center on the first floor and in Feaster Center until December 11th. So
this is another big thing that our community outreach committee has been doing. Yes. Toys for Tots is a program ran through the Salvation Army. These toys go to children and families who maybe struggle a little bit during Christmas time, just to ensure that they have something to be put under the tree. So it definitely makes a big difference in these kids' lives.
Yes. And if you can donate,
please,
they'll be there. So, and there should be a post on our Instagram with further information as well. So with that, I think we can finally say thank you for listening in. Our wonderful producer, Riley, is going to plug our social medias on the screen right here because we don't have our beautiful little script that gives us the nice, perfect little, end and wrap up. And she also will plug our upcoming events. I know lots of basketball and wrestling as we come into this break. But we are super appreciative of all of you watching, and we would just like to say thank you for tuning in.
And be sure to check us back here at December 16th. That's the day. I had to do the math in my head. December 16th for our last episode of the year with a very special guest. Riley gave me a really confused look. But yes, December 16th with a very, very special guest who we've wanted on this podcast since the beginning, and we're very excited to be able to have him.
We're super excited. So thanks for listening to What's Going On Behind the Wings.
Thank you.